We have breaking news we want to get to for you right away. Marysville police have just confirmed for us there is an active shooter situation at Marysville Pilchuck High School. Let's get to KOMO4's Kelly Koopmans, who's monitoring the situation from our satellite center. Kelly, what can you tell us right now? All right, Kelly, thanks very much. We have, as you mentioned, we are receiving information from different people near the scene. We've got some information from a parent whose son goes to the school who tells us that he texted her and let her know that the shooting had happened in the cafeteria. And one of the news agencies that covers that area, the Snohomish Times-News, which is an online source for news, is reporting that 6 people are injured in the cafeteria. They also say that that's where it happened, that airlift and advanced life support is being brought in right now. There are some reports that have said that the shooter was down, but again, the latest information we have from Marysville police is that they are still treating this as an active shooter situation. Now you can see that there are some students kind of under that ledge, and I do want to say to you, because I know that people are always concerned about anything that might reveal too much. Air Force is being allowed over the scene right now. We would absolutely pull the helicopter back if we were told by the police on the ground that they were concerned that we showed anything that would harm the situation or make it more difficult for them to do what they're doing. But these are things that they're allowing us to show you. You see a big group of people running out right now. They're holding their hands up and they're just getting out of that cleared area. And some people are pressed against the building with the overhang, with police with them as well. And now they've released those people to run out and get away from the building. This is probably the biggest part of the evacuation of the school that we've seen so far. It's a good sign that police are there and that they're at the different exits and able to control what could turn into such a chaotic situation of clearing that many students, you know, several thousand students out of a building. What scary times for these kids. Many of them undoubtedly heard the shots. Word traveled through the school of what was going on. They just want to get out and get to safety right now, and the police are there to make sure that they can get them out as quickly and as safely and as calmly as possible. We want to get to another person on the phone with us right now. Alex is, I believe, a student at Marysville Pilchuck High School. Alex, I just want to make sure that you're in a situation where you feel like it is safe for you to talk to us.
Yes, I am at home right now.
You are at home right now. And were you at school this morning?
Yes,
okay.
I was in the cafeteria.
What can you tell us about what you saw?
So, I was in, and I hear 4 gunshots, and it was behind me. So I looked behind me, and I saw a gun pointed at this one table where I knew a bunch of these kids. I just can't really name names right now.
Right. No, I agree. We'd actually appreciate that. More general of what you experienced.
And how many students were there at the time, and what was the initial reaction?
Well, as soon as everyone saw the gun or heard the gunshots, they ran towards the wall, and a lot of the kids, some kids ran out the exit that I ran out of.
And do you have any estimate on how many kids were in there at the time? Was this a lunch hour?
Yes, there was about, I would say, 50 to 60 kids.
Okay. And Alex, so you were describing you heard about 4 shots behind you. You saw a gun pointed at a student, and is that when you got up and just got out of there?
Yeah, I saw them pointed at the feet of the students, and I ran first to the wall, and I'm like, I'm not staying in here, so I ran out and called my mom.
Well, that was obviously the right thing to do, and I'm glad to know that you are at home safe right now.
And they all want to know that their kids are okay.
You all do want to get those initial answers, indeed.
Elisa, you mentioned that parent whose hands are shaking. I mean, as a parent of a high school student to you, a parent of a recent high school graduate, my hands are shaking too. I mean, you and I don't have kids at Marysville Pilchuck, but it's impossible to watch something like this and not be incredibly emotionally attached to it.
Well, I'm seeing all the school buses go by, Molly, and I can't help but think, you know, my own kids.
So many of them, this is their community.
Yeah, it's where they can all be together in the worst of times, absolutely, and they'll be together again in better times as well. Elisa, thank you. We've appreciated your perspective there. I know it's a difficult place to be with the family. Elisa's very sensitive to that, to what's happening there, and is giving people space when they need it and talking to them when they're willing to talk to us about it as well. And some people in these situations feel a little bit better being able to talk. She had that mom who said, that she knows her son is safe, but until I get to touch him. And I think that that is the same thought process going through so many parents' minds right now. I've gotten the text message, or I've had the phone call, or I've had the assurances from the police or the school officials that my child is safe, but until that kid is in my arms, not going to feel too much better. So we hope for those parents that this process moves along and that they're able to get their arms around their kids
And I think any parent can relate to that, right?
And we can now tell you that we've confirmed the student who opened fire inside Marysville Pilchuck High School. His name is Jalen Freiberg. We've had that name for some time today, but haven't wanted to release it until we had some confirmation from family members that he was indeed involved, and we do have that for you now. Jalen, as I understand, was a freshman at the school, I believe, and Elisa had said that she talked to someone there who had said that the gunman, that Jalen was a cousin, and that one of the victims was a cousin as well. Earlier on our air, we had a mom on the phone who'd heard from one of her kids that last name Freiberg, and we tried to kind of get away from that initially until we had some actual confirmation. Now that we do, one of the things she had mentioned is that there are quite a few family members with the last name Freiberg in that Marysville area. And this is a large family, a well-established family up in Snohomish County, and that Jalen is one of several family members who goes to the school, and it sounds potentially like one of the victims is a member of that family as well.
For years to come.
Lindsay Cohen has just spoken with one of the students who had heard that Jalen was the gunman and described him as an accomplished athlete and said he was like normal yesterday. We always have that question of why, and we keep looking for it and saying, as this goes on, we can find out more about the motive behind it. But, I don't think anybody will ever really be able to wrap their head, no matter what we learn about Jalen and what he might have been going through or what he might have been thinking. I don't think anybody will ever really be able to wrap their head around why a 14-year-old would walk into school with a gun and open fire on family members, potentially friends, classmates for sure, there at the school. 14 years old, a freshman, that's how old my daughter is. She's a freshman in high school. Gosh, where does that anguish come from?
Thinking the exact same things.
Yeah, I think everybody, you want to just get home and hug those kids tonight, right? And talk about when you're going through those tough times as a teenager, that there are resources for you, that there's a lot of love for you, and people who care and who want to help you through difficult times. It's never an easy path for anybody, is it? Those teenage years, those high school years.
And they're tough.
Yeah, they really are tough. They really are, and there's so many different things that can influence it, and influence those decisions that you make. And yeah, our hearts are just breaking for Marysville right now. Just these moments that we keep seeing of the students when they're finally were able to get out of the church and hook up with their moms and dads' moms on the phone and waving, and they're talking to their kids and trying to wave them down at the same time as they come out and be able to finally get those arms wrapped around them and give them that tight hug. The Marysville School District put out a news release just a short time ago, just with some of the very basic information that we've been sharing with you, that the school had this emergency situation, the shooting in the cafeteria today, school events canceled district-wide. Then at the end they note, we want to extend our thoughts and prayers to the families involved in this tragedy. When something happens to one of our children, it happens to all of us. And then they go on to say they're working closely with law enforcement and that their thoughts are with all of the students, families, staff, and communities during this time. And their line there, that when something happens to one of our children, it happens to all of us, really struck me when I read it, because I think that's how it's felt since we went on the air more than 4 hours ago. It has felt like this happened to us, to all of us who are talking to you about it. And I know to anybody who would be sitting at home watching it, that even if you don't live in Snohomish County, even if you don't know someone who goes to Marysville Pilchuck High School, what happened today inside that school happened to all of us. A mom-to-be got shocking news at a prenatal checkup. Her baby's heart was on the wrong side of her body, and a doctor suggested terminating the pregnancy. Thanks to a second opinion and doctors at Seattle Children's Hospital, baby Briella is now beating the odds.
Come on. Oh, good girl.
Briella was an early walker, moving on 2 feet around 11 months old.
Her first steps marked one of many landmarks for this little girl. Another came at 4 months old when she had her first heart surgery.
Yeah, when she was born, nobody knew what the outcome was going to be. Nobody knew if she was going to make it to her first birthday. We just didn't know. But I always held hope.
Briella's heart is on the right side of her chest and doesn't properly pump blood. Doctors at Seattle Children's Hospital said while serious, Briella's heart problem could be fixed.
She has different parts of her heart in different place than they usually are, and she essentially has one chamber of her heart functioning well instead of two chambers that most other kids do.
Surgery redirected Briella's blood flow. She'll need a follow-up surgery around 3 years old and potentially a heart transplant in her teens. Those are frightening predictions, but pale in comparison to what the family initially heard at a different doctor's office, that Briella would be born severely disabled and never have a good quality of life. Instead, she just celebrated her first birthday.
I think you never know how strong you are until strong's the only thing you have.
While Briella's surgery was complex, it's not a rare procedure. Because of the family's initial experience with the doctor who made some dire predictions, Seattle Children's reminds families to get a second opinion.
So glad you could be with us, and so glad that we're out here having a good time like this with the city.
I don't know if I've been in a crowd this electric ever. I have to think this has got to only be second to being actually at the Super Bowl when the Seahawks won. This is the starting line for the victory parade that the Seahawks will go on today. We're right outside our studios at Fisher Plaza, and these people have been gathering here for hours. Let's take a look now at the parade route. So we begin here at Denny Way and 4th Avenue and then move down 4th through Belltown and downtown. The route will take a turn heading west on South Washington Street and then south on 2nd Avenue South, ending with that rally at CenturyLink Field.
The Como News Network is fanned out across the parade route. And the police are saying, okay, time for you to get on out of here.
The good news for them, they have a police escort in front of them and a police escort behind them. So if this is the only glitch we have, that there were a few cars still on the parade route when it was about to begin, I think we'll be in good shape. So we're just a couple minutes before 11. The parade was scheduled to start at 11. Hopefully things are pretty much on track. Although I think these crowds, they've been here for hours. They'll wait as long as it takes for their Seahawk champions to go by.
It is a chilly day out here. There's no doubt about that. But the cold is not going to stop this crowd. Everybody's bundled up. Everybody's in the blue. You see the 12 flag right there in the middle of your screen. Those 12 flags and 12 people are all over the place right now.
I can't stop grinning just looking at this crowd. Yeah. It is so great, the feeling that this whole city has been so energized, unified, and happy the last few weeks. Let's get back into the heart of the crowd and Denise Whitaker right there in the midst of all those 12s. Denise, I have an answer for those students from Bellevue. The Bellevue School District's official word on today is school is in session. Student absences require a parent approval, so hopefully those kids had mom and dad give the school a call and just said, on my word, my kids aren't there today. We had official word only from a handful of districts. Issaquah said that it was okay to take kids out of school. It would be approved if it was an activity that meets district attendance policy. I think that was vague enough that there are plenty of kids not in Issaquah today. Renton actually made the strongest statement, saying school's in session per state regulation, and today could be an unexcused absence in Renton.
Yeah, North Shore and Highline also kind of gave the, yeah, it's okay. Straight, easy, unimpeded access to the ducks and the other vehicles for the parade.
In other words, we need these 12s to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're right outside the buses, and wouldn't that be a great spot to be and be able to see the players? But the police are down there, including the mounted police officers on horseback, trying to clear those people off of Broad so that, so that there's not that direct of contact between all the fans. It would have been wonderful, obviously, for people to be able to just go up and high-five their favorite players, but with 500,000 people in Seattle, it's just not going to work out that way. So until police can get people cleared out of there, apparently the team is staying on the buses.